This is Hungary, my region of choice for my project for the 2015 Venice Biennale. I'm going to begin by going over quick history of Hungary and what inspired the artists for the exhibition. So Hungary is a landlocked country located in Central Eastern Europe, surrounded by Slovakia, Ukraine, Romania, Serbia, Croatia, and Austria. The end of World War I marked the end to the Austro-Hungarian Empire and the emergence of the Hungarian Republic, following communist takeover in 1919 under Bela Kun. Kun immediately declares war with Czechoslovakia and Romania, which then led Romanian forces to occupy Budapest, handing the power to Admiral Miklos Horthy, who remains regent until 1944. In 1941, Hungary declares war with the Soviet Union, where Germany had just invaded. As a result, a large part of the Hungarian army was destroyed. In 1944, Hungarian Nazis remove Horthy from office and installs a puppet regime, forcing Hungarian Jews and Gypsies to death camps. Following that year, Soviet forces drive out the Germans and create a new Hungarian government, introducing the Land Reform Bill, which redistributes land from large estate owners to peasants. From 1947 to 48, communism consolidates power and Hungary aligns itself more with the Soviet Union. A year later, a new constitution makes Hungary a workers' and peasant state, and a new wave of police terror is launched, leading up to the 1956 uprising. The uprising began when protesters demanded the Soviet Union to withdraw their troops. Imre Nagy becomes the prime minister in 1956 and plans on withdrawing from the Warsaw Pact, making Hungary a neutral state. As a result from the uprising, however, Soviet forces respond by massacring thousands of rebels and abduct Nagy from the Yugoslavic embassy where he was taking refuge. János Kadar becomes the head of the Hungarian government. In the 1960s, Kadar gradually introduces limited liberal reforms in which he freed political prisoners and church leaders, as well as increased rights for farmers and industrial workers. In 1989, the border with Austria is opened and the Iron Curtain is breached. At this time, communism is dismantled and Hungary transitions into becoming a multi-party democracy. In 1991, Soviet forces withdraw their troops and Hungary enters a new era. According to Juliana Puskas's Hungarian Migration Patterns, New Research in Hungary, using quantification and mathematical statistical analysis, they have found that the large-scale overseas immigration from Hungary began in the 1880s. However, due to the outbreak of World War I in 1914, immigration from Hungary was cut off, and it wasn't until 1920s, after territorial changes had become less threatening, that immigration could resume. However, America at this time shut its gates to the undesirable peoples of Eastern Central Europe. Originally, many Hungarians immigrated to the United States without the intention of staying for good. Rather, they went to improve their economic positions at home from the money that they would earn abroad. According to Puskas, 82% of immigrants from Hungary have said that they were going to the United States to join relatives that were already in the U.S. that had migrated in the early 1900s. The majority of the early migrations were of Hungarian Jews. I have attached a timeline to the full history of Hungary, but at this time, I have this interview with my mom, who is from Budapest, Hungary, and a lot of what she says corresponds with the research that Puskas did. Alright, so, what was it like to grow up in communist Hungary?
Usually the first thing comes to my mind always being safe. Growing up in communism is for children is very safe because communism is for the children. So there is all the basic needs are met. Lots of children playing outside. The country is safe. There is no crime.
Okay.
And education was not, school was nearby. So as a child, it was good.
How was it like when you were an adult?
As an adult, you have ambitions. As a young adult, you have ambitions and dreams. And in communism, that's almost impossible to reach.
Okay. When did you migrate to the United States?
I was just about to turn 20 years old.
Do you know the year?
In January 17, 1990.
Alright. What was your reason for migrating?
My brother left the country 7 years prior to that, so I worked for 7 years to follow him wherever he was at.
Okay. So my next question was, did you know anyone in the United States before migrating? But you just answered that. How did you feel when you came to the United States?
How did I say?
How did you feel when you came to the United States?
I was amazed. I had my first job. I was a little nanny, and I was provided food and shelter plus $125 a week, which in Hungarian currency probably people make it in 6 months. So for me, it was an immediate culture shock, and also, it was pretty much amazing.
Okay. Do you think your identity changed once you moved to the United States?
I wouldn't say my identity changed, but I was able to look at life in a very different view. I was able to look at life that anything is possible and reachable.
Okay. What was most difficult to face, leaving your country or entering and starting over in a new one?
Starting and entering the new one, it was exciting. Leaving the country, I had moments and some days that I didn't want to stay because in the beginning I had no friends, I didn't speak the language. So I was kind of lonely. But as soon as I made some friends and started learning the language, it was getting easier.
Okay. When did you return to Hungary?
I didn't return until 24 years later.
What was the date when you returned?
Was it July of 2014?
How did you feel when you came back to the country?
I started crying and it felt like home, like real home.
Alright, so I thought that was a good way of looking at it because of looking at the statistical analysis and then asking someone who lived through it. It sort of aligns together. But why I wanted to touch upon those bases is because the Pavilion at the 2015 Biennale, it has a lot to do with migration and identity. So I'm going to introduce the artist, who is Szilárd Cseke, who was born in Papa, Hungary in 1967. He currently lives in Budapest, Hungary. Cseke graduated from the University of Pécs with a master's degree in painting in 1995. Although graduated as a painter, he has been working on mobile objects his entire career, since the mid-90s. His work has been awarded, among many others, with the Munkaci Prize in 2014 and the Derkovits Scholarship in 1997. Cseke has had numerous solo and group exhibitions in the most prestigious Hungarian institutions, such as the Kaszeli Museum, the Municipal Gallery in Budapest, and the Kunsthalle and Ludwig Museum in Budapest. His works can also be found in private and public collections. And currently, he's represented at the Ani Molyard Gallery in Budapest. So this is the artist. And if you click on Budapest, it is right here. When you go down, you can see all of the museums and galleries that he is currently showcased. But here is the University of Pécs, where he graduated. And if you click on that, here are some examples of his paintings that he did. But I'm going to continue on to the Hungarian Pavilion, which is located right here. And if you click on it, Here's a photo of Kinga Germain, the curator, and Szilárd Cseke, the artist. And I have some information about the exhibition. So Hungary was among the first 4 countries to participate in the Art Biennale in 1919. The pavilion is located between the Giardini and the Japanese Pavilion. The Hungarian Pavilion at the 2015 exhibition reflects social and economic processes, emphasizing on the theme of migration and the search for and fluidity of one's identity. The exhibition was a collaborative effort between the artist Szilárd Cseke and the curator Kinga Germain, which features 2 installations, a sound component, and a participatory space. Altogether, the Hungarian Pavilion focuses on cognitive space created by emotion and electronics. Cseke first installed a system of floating white balls that move through the transparent tubes propelled by electric fans that is suspended over the entire exhibition. Also installed at the center of the ambulatory passage of the space is a foil cushion that is constantly inflating and deflating, acting as the center that is maintaining the whole system and reflecting the motion of breathing. The sound component is installed by the media designer Abriz Grulis, who collaborated with the artists, reflecting the sounds of the balls moving through the exhibition space. As the viewer enters the pavilion, they can only hear the sound, but not see what the sound is reflecting. Only by moving through the space can you connect the sound to the other installations. In the central courtyard of the pavilion is where the participatory space is located. In the open outdoor space, the artist and curator ask the visitors to write, draw, and move with ball-shaped pieces of chalk that are seven different sizes. This is to reflect their current situation and to indicate what concepts are most sustainable for them: an equitable society, the economy, a comfortable existence, love, a livable working environment, independent thinking, or freedom. The pavilion, having the installations with the sound component and the participatory feature, allows for the viewers to contemplate and reflect on the idea that we are all travelers, constantly moving from one place to another, like the propelled balls, moving through groups of people and foreign spaces, which can change and alter our identities. So here I have a photograph of an overview of the pavilion. So here would be the sound installation. As you walk through, you can contemplate and see the installations and enter the atrium where you can be a part of it and write down things or draw. So here's another photograph of the installation, of both the installations, and a photograph of the outdoor space with the chalks. And here I have a video. If you click on it, it'll bring up a really great video of the actual pavilion. With the selected theme of All the World's Future by the head curator of the 56th International Venice Biennale, Okui in Windsor, the Hungarian Pavilion's curator, Kinga Germain, thought of the concept that the appearance of things and the state of things are always interpreted on an individual basis. Thus, she wanted to create a site-specific, unique space installation that operated at a communal and personal level. The Hungarian artist Szilárd Cseke began creating mobile objects in the mid-90s, mostly investigating global issues that encompass themes of migration and the search for identity. The 2015 Hungarian Biennale was most successful due to the extreme collaboration between the artist and curator. Together they sought out to target the complexity of identities while dealing with the issues of migration. It was revealed that the Hungarian Pavilion was the winning project for the exhibition for their artist and curator duo. Well, thank you so much. This is my pavilion.